and welcome. I am Gary MacDonald, your 2021 Reno Sparks Association of Realtors President, and thank you for joining me today for another episode of To The Point. This segment of To The Point is about educating and informing our members so that they can be the best resource for their clients. So let's get to the point and get to know your MLS. My guest today is CEO of the Northern Nevada Regional MLS, George Pickard. George, thank you for being with us today. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure. Clear cooperation came down about a year and a half ago from the National Association of Realtors to all of us as organizations. How does clear cooperation work, and how are you tweaking it to keep it active and to keep it current?
Great question. Clear cooperation technically requires that if a listing is marketed to the public, and that's a whole can of worms in itself, but if anybody outside of a brokerage learns about a listing, that's considered marketing to the public under the eyes of this policy. And when that happens, the listing agent has one business day to get the listing into the MLS. So from your list, you put your listings in, you get access to all the listings in the collection. Clear cooperation is pretty clear. The MLS is about participation, about our participants cooperating. So the right thing to do is, if you've got a listing, before you market it to the public, put it in the MLS. The MLS has a lot of great tools to help you market that listing. There's really no reason to hold it back.
What are you seeing on the horizon as far as technology is concerned, and how do you go about deciding what technology to adopt for our MLS?
I'm glad you asked that question. You give me another opportunity to talk about the collaboration between the Reno Sparks Association and the Northern Nevada Regional MLS, and that's the Technology Committee. So the Technology Committee is made up of members, volunteer members from the Reno Sparks Association and from Sierra Nevada Realtors. And when we have new products or new features in existing products, we bring them to the Technology Committee to get feedback and help guide our trustees on the technology front as to whether an MLS application will make sense as a benefit for all members, or perhaps it's not something that would apply to all business practices and it's something that an agent may be interested in purchasing on their own. But it gives us a great chance to get that feedback from practitioners. When it comes to what's coming down the pike, technology-wise, within the next several years, we're going to see a lot more from advanced data analytics, artificial intelligence in providing insights, new levels of insight to our members from listing data and listing activity. And we're going to see a lot more use of LiDAR and a lot of technology that's embedded in the phone to help really make that listing process, listing input process, a lot more efficient than it is today.
When you do what you do at the MLS, it's not just like pulling a rabbit out of a hat. You do a lot of visioning and have a visioning process. Tell us where that is going, and I know you're having a board meeting next week with a new approach to visioning. So tell us about it.
We are in the midst of a strategic planning process. We've contracted with T360 to facilitate for us. And given all of the history of upheaval and challenges in our market, in our region over the last several years, my approach has been to bring everybody around the table and have an inclusive planning process so that we get buy-in from our shareholders, not only our shareholders and the great volunteer leaders like yourself that work alongside our AEs who are so gifted with our associations, but also bringing brokers in as stakeholders into this process, bringing their IT staff for those brokerages that have IT staff, really being inclusive in putting together and brainstorming all the possibilities. We've been working for about a month on this vision plan with the stakeholder group. Our next phase will be to bring a larger group, including the officers from our shareholder associations to the table with our trustees, present the work that we've done, and all get on the same page as far as where we're going next. Because I think we can all agree that there's a tremendous amount of uncertainty in the future as to what kind of disruption will come our way in the real estate industry, and what kind of changes to the way that we work will be required of us. We can all agree that change is coming. In order for us to persevere and to thrive in a new environment, our relationships need to be rock solid, and we need to make decisions that are based on our common values. So that's what this planning process is all about. It's not so much about picking the technology that we're going to go with or having an approach, one approach or another to that technology evaluation process, but really what are our common values, what are our common priorities, and how are we going to work together to address those and continue to support the American dream of home ownership.
George, that's a great answer. I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here with us today. And you had an organization that I am exceedingly proud to be able to work with and be able to be now a part of. And thank you so much for opening that door. We appreciate it very much.
Thanks for having me. Thank you for your membership.
Thank you. All right. So thank you for joining me today for this segment in the To The Point video series. Next week on the Community Corner segment of To The Point, Angelica Reyes visits with Katie Pace, president of Rebuild Together. Finally, if you missed an episode or want to explore the To The Point video series library, visit Reno Sparks Association's YouTube channel at RSAR Realtors. You can always find current episodes on the association website at www.rsar.realtor. Thank you again for joining us today, and I'll see you next time when we get to the point. Have a great day.